Well, hello guys. It is Thursday, which can only mean one thing. It's time for Odds and Ends once more, where I read you some crazy news stories that'll make you just kind of scratch your head and be like, what? Gonna, make you wonder what the hell those people were thinking. But, anyways, so, now I can see. So, anyways, let's get started, shall we? In Palestine, Roman Catholic, Greek Orthodox, and Armenian Apostolic clerks rang in the new year by engaging in their now traditional annual Christmas Brawl at the Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem. The church, long claimed to be the birthplace of Jesus, is administered by three different religious sects, all claiming ownership of the sacred site. The groups are normally regulated to their own sections of the church. Every December, however, the church is cleaned in preparation for Orthodox Christmas celebrations in early January. And each year, the three orders get into a knockdown, drag-out brawl. This year, more than 100 priests and monks engaged in a frenzied turf battle with broomsticks. Palestinian police, using batons and shields, were called in to break up the battle in the ballistica. Quote, it was a trivial problem that occurs every year. Police Lieutenant Colonel Kahil Aktimi told Reuters News Service. Quote, everything is alright and things have returned to normal. The Lieutenant Colonel said no one has been arrested, quote, because all those involved were men of God. Okay. Now you can see that churches are starting to fight with each other. Well, servers of the church are starting to fight with each other, so what does that prove? Does this mean that the end of the world has something to do with it? I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see, but I doubt it. Moving on. In Samoa, on Thursday, December 29th, the entire nation of Samoa experienced time travel. Residents of the small Polynesian island voluntarily skipped Friday, December 30th, and went straight to Saturday, December 31st. The unusual calendar hiccup came because Samoans voted to move from one side of the international dateline to the other. Samoa maintains close trade and economics relations with Pacific neighbors Australia and New Zealand, but has traditionally been a day behind them thanks to the Earth's 24 time zones, which begin and end in Samoan waters. Quote, in doing business with New Zealand and Australia, we're losing out on 2 working days a week. Prime Minister Tulepea Senehili Mangegoya told the Times of London, quote, while it's Friday here, it's Saturday in New Zealand, and when we're at church Sunday, they're already conducting business in Sydney and Brisbane. Samoa has been located east of the dateline since American traders convinced the nation to move there in 1892. In moving west of the dateline, Samoan business owners will be required to pay workers for the now non-existent day. According to MSNBC, hotel guests will not be required to pay for the missing Friday night. Well, that's kind of weird actually if you think about it. Well, then again, that's why they call it odds and ends for a reason, because of it's crazy-ish, but I mean, if they wanted to jump from one time zone to the other, then by all means, let them, for all I care. They can do whatever they want, because it's their country, so they have the rights to do that. Moving on to more stuff in the States. In Pennsylvania, a 63-year-old man was arrested after telling police that 2 prostitutes he hired for a threesome refused to have sex with him. Jerry Eugene Stirring of Berlin, Pennsylvania, called 911 to say that he paid $400 to Jacqueline Eubanks, 50, and Tonya Good, 34, to have sex with him at his residence and didn't get his money's worth. According to Strang's, the 2 women got undressed and began smoking his marijuana. But when it came time for sex, Strang was regulated to watching from a corner of the bed while the 2 women had sex with one another. Unsatisfied by the amount of participation, Strang reported the transaction as a robbery. Strang was arrested and charged with patronization of prostitution. Eubanks and Good, meanwhile, were booked on prostitution charges. Wow. You're crazy. Just put it at that. This ridiculous, honestly. Stupid. Why'd you even think of doing that in the first place is my question. You gotta be just ridiculous. Duh. Anyway, moving on. In Florida, Mary Ellen Lease, 45, called 911 from a traveler's inn in Fort Pierce to tell dispatchers, quote, "I ate too much." After delivering the information, Leslie abruptly hung up. St. Louis County Sheriff's deputies were dispatched to the motel and found a woman, quote, jumping up and down and yelling in room number 108. According to their arrest report, officers smelled alcohol on Lisa's breath and noted that she appeared to be drunk. Asked why she called 911, Lisa laughed and said, quote, because I ate too much food. According to the police report, quote, she then began repeatedly yelling that she had not consumed cocaine in over a year. Officers asked Lisa to write out a statement. She complied, delivering a, quote, mostly illegible document which read, quote, my name is Mary Ellen Lease. I have beaten, I believe in God, and He forgives me. I may joke, but I do not do crack. I will not for as long as I live. Lease was eventually arrested on charges of misuse of 911 and disorderly conduct. That's just going to make it worse for you. Because if you claim that you've done cocaine and that you're drunk, and, well, because of the charges you've been done with, though, but that's just making it worse for you. Seriously. And finally, the last story, which comes out of South Carolina, which a Charleston man died after eating cocaine out of his brother's butt. D'Angelo Mitchell, 23, and his brother Wayne Mitchell, 20, were both arrested and taken into custody on the night of November 30th on allegations of cocaine trafficking. The two were placed in the back of a police cruiser with their hands cuffed behind them. Shortly afterward, Wayne Mitchell suffered a seizure. He died less than an hour later after being taken to a hospital by EMS workers. Surveillance footage from inside the police car clearly shows the two brothers discussing the additional drugs D'Angelo Mitchell had stashed on his person at the time of their arrest. According to an article in Charleston's Post and Courier, D'Angelo encouraged his younger brother to remove and consume the drugs, quote, because, quote, you're the only one who doesn't have any strikes. In the surveillance footage, Wayne seems reluctant. Eventually, after D'Angelo informs him, quote, you could die. But eventually he leans over and pulls a small package from his brother's butt crack with his teeth and chews it up. When the Charleston County Coroner's report came back in late December, backing up the police department's conclusions, D'Angelo was arrested for involuntary manslaughter. D'Angelo allegedly told police his brother swallowed a full ounce of cocaine. Well, that's one way to go. You tell your brother, hey, I have cocaine in my ass. Go eat it up for me, will ya? Because you don't have any strikes. So, take one for the team, will ya? Seriously. The lengths that some people do just to try to get away with some stuff. And, well, didn't work out so well, just put it at that. But anyways, guys, that was the end for Odds and Ends. I hope you guys really enjoyed that as much as I always do. And so I guess we will see you next Thursday for another segment of Odds and Ends. So, peace.